Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Doom Patrol, Season 2, Episode 2. Last time we came back after, Season 1's interesting ending. All our heroes were shrunk except for the Invisible Man, and they're not invisible. You know what I'm talking about. Negative Man, that's it. And he was trying to help them figure out how to grow again. We had the chief's daughter being brought into the fold, and she's just adorable. We also had a rat cannibalizing its weak baby, which, again, things that actually happen in real life. And just a lot of wild shenanigans. In the end, Cyborg ended up leaving, just due to, I guess, some internal issues, both with his systems and with his just emotional state after everything that occurred. Rita is getting better control of her powers, which is fun, and gaining a lot of self-confidence because of it. And it looks like Cliff and Jane are still on each other's side, but are also still Cliff and Jane, so there's that. And everybody's just kind of mad at the chief for everything that he did, and honestly, that's fair. But the biggest thing to take away from the first episode is the setup. The chief's daughter has these beasts she can call from her mind. They're basically like imaginary friends, but they're not at the same time, because we know one of them at least was inherited from her mother. The big deer, wolf thing, whatever you want to call it. I'm not great at the names for these things, but we see she can speak to them, and they can speak to her, but at the same time, it seems that one of them wants out. One of them seems to be more aggressive than the others and actively wants to escape all of this. The candle maker. I don't know exactly what their deal is going to be yet, but they definitely seem more aggressive and seems to be focused on wishes. So there could be some darkness to that. And considering her father gave up his immortality, which means he's currently dying, in order to save everyone else and restore them to their normal size, it's like she knows this, and she's obviously worried. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows where this is going to go? We'll just have to see. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, I guess, what you've thought of the premiere and everything, but we're going to get on to episode 2. I don't know why I was going in on that, but okay. We're going to get to episode 2, hope for the best, and see how this goes. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, that was interesting. The chief has come clean about everything, about how all of them were just experiments to try and extend his life so he could be with his daughter and take care of her and everything. And we kind of get the just backlash from everything continuing. Meanwhile, Vic is going to support groups back in Detroit, where he ends up meeting this girl who they kind of form a bit of a relationship with. And there's some steps he has to take to better himself for sure, and just step away from his preconceived notions, but I actually like where that's going. It's cute. But there's not too much to say in regards to that entire thing right now, so I think we'll probably skip talking about that, because again, there's just not much to say about it yet. It's set up in this episode. So let's focus instead on the plot point centering around oh my god, my mind is blanking. I was just thinking of his name too. Larry. So Larry goes to visit his son's burial. He watches from a distance as his other son is giving a speech and everything. And once the entire thing's done, he goes up to the casket before it's, lowered down, and leaves his emblem on it. His other son comes up, and they have a brief exchange in which the other son recognizes his voice. He does come clean and tells him, "Yeah, it's me, your father," and everything. And it's a lot to process for the dude, considering he's so old at this point. But he invites him to join them for this family gathering back at the house, and at first it looks like Larry's going to go, but then decides not to once he sees them inside and everything. However, the negative spirit, as he's heading out, guides him towards the barn, in which he finds a little memorial shrine dedicated to him and everything, which includes a letter from his now late son that causes him to kind of break down. On his way back, trying to hitchhike, he ends up seeing a butterfly, and then gets swarmed by an entire flock of them, and it just kind of ends there. So that's leading to something interesting. Why did this swarm of butterflies just absolutely attack him? I assume that's what happened, and I assume there's something to that, but geez. But then let's talk about, our other characters. So, just kind of going through their own pains and their own anger at everything. They're just trying to figure everything out. And with the news that Niles is dying being revealed as well, Rita wants to save him. And we know Jane is in on that. But Cliff at first refuses. Until Calder himself actually says, "No, I don't want this to happen either." And then Cliff is like, "Oh, you don't want this to happen? Then we're fucking doing it." He just wants to be completely contrarian to Niles at the moment. He just wants to do everything that Niles doesn't want him to do. So Niles gives in and agrees to send them out to go after this guy named Dr. Time, who can control time using this rare space element, basically, within a helmet on his head. So they take a wormhole, basically, that Niles creates to this, as it's called, time capsule that Dr. Time controls. And in it, it's basically this 80s disco, this 80s roller disco. That's all it is. And basically Dr. Time's excuse, I guess, for having it be like that all the time is this is in his opinion, where humanity peaked. And it's like, okay. Sure. But everyone there is from different eras and stuff. You see a samurai, you see a Mongol and stuff. And as you later come to find out, they were all people who had come after him as well, and he's just kind of not fully controlling them, but making it so they basically can't do anything, and so they're just kind of playing along. Well, Cliff and the others are trying to figure everything out. Rita's kind of going along with Dr. Time and his roller disco. But eventually they decide they have to just go for it. So Cliff breaks the DJ table, the turntable, that's what it's called. He breaks the turntable. Dr. Time starts to go after him, but Rita uses her newly started to master powers of stretchiness and all, of basically Luffy powers, to basically pull him down while trying to take off his helmet, which causes him to hit the ground very hard on his head and reveals that the helmet was actually his head because his brain literally pops out. And it's like, oh, all right. And his brain is made of the time mineral and everything, and so they're trying to get it, but then Rita, who's just kind of freaked out by everything, just starts turning back time on his helmet, and they're just kicked out. So, all right, that's a thing. And yeah, we see that Jane is, throughout this episode, still struggling with keeping control. The other personalities want to take control of her. And we even get this flashback eventually that kind of shows the original personality, Kay, being taken over as lead personality by Miranda, who, as we had learned before even, did throw herself down the well. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And also, yeah, the entire thing with that church trying to dunk her multiple times within the holy water to try and relieve her of this quote-unquote sin. It's just like, I hate that kind of shit. It is so fucked up. It's like, it's not like some kind of sin or curse or demon possession. She has multiple personality disorder. This was before the experimentation that gave her the powers and fractured her mind even more. This was like when she only had a couple personalities, right? So it's like, it was just like, even if they didn't know what dissociative identity disorder was at that time, or at least not to the degree that they do now, it's like, still, why would that be what you would think? I don't understand why you would jump to that conclusion. And the kind of shit they did to people, like, that in that regards, to torturing them like that, like, that's blatantly torture. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Doing something like that is torture. It's just, it's fucked up. But then again, Christianity, like, you could say it's fucked up about a vast majority of Christianity throughout history. So yeah. But yeah, it was a really interesting episode. But you could kind of say that about most of this series. I'm just wondering where it's going to go, because obviously the Dr. Time thing didn't pan out. They're not going to try that again, I assume. So right now that seems to be the main focus, trying to figure out a way to save Niles. Without using a wish from the Candlemaker, obviously. Because he just wants to make sure that Dorothy is taken care of, and obviously he's the best person to be able to do so, but I don't know. I just don't know how this is gonna go. But then there's, of course, the entire thing with the butterflies, capturing and kidnapping, presumably, Larry. I mean, I assume that's probably what's going to happen there. Because, like, what else are they going to, what else would that mean? The fact that they swarm him like that. Like, we know how this series tends to go. he's probably going to wake up somewhere else. That's just how this series tends to go. I have no fucking idea what this could mean by any means, but it's like how do you even begin to guess at something like that? Because those butterflies very clearly just went at him, like very aggressively. I guess we'll have to find out. I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. Either way, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.